You ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
$1 million man. Hey man, say man, best of lean with Tulsa.
Pull up on me. And boss something.
Yeah, this is the Bigger the Food podcast. As you know me, my name is Apollo Woods. I am your host for the podcast, and we travel around. We invite many amazing guests, and I am fortunate to have the opportunity to talk to what I just found out, my frat brother.
Yes, sir. We in here.
We in here. Two Ice Cold brothers making it happen up here in Tulsa. So just tell the people who you are, because you have this. You have this brand, these amazing wings, and this sauce brand. We'll dive into it.
Yes, sir.
So tell the people who you are and what is Kingsway Wings.
Gotcha. Well, for the people that don't know, man, my name is Jimere Parker. I am a husband, father, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. And 2 years ago, October 5th, we started Kingsway Wings. Actually, it was King's Wings starting out. We changed the name for legal purposes, but Kingsway Wings, that is our brand, man. We are a bustling wing spot here in Tulsa. So, as I said, we've been going for about 2 years strong as a pop-up restaurant. As you can see, we're here at Mother Road Market. This is a place that we've popped up and where we've gained our following, man. So, in a nutshell, that's really who we are.
Man, I love it. So, I don't want to go back to, I'm gonna ask you some questions that they might feel like I'm pushing you a little bit, because I think what's important, that the reason why we do this podcast is I want people to understand like the stories behind what you do. It's not just about the food. It's not just about the wings. Right. There's really a story behind it. And I want people to get the mindset of what it is to be an entrepreneur and to be in this space. But let's go back to the earlier days.
Yes, sir.
So, we talked before. And what was the start of you thinking about, what influenced you to be involved in food? Do you remember your first time growing up where you began to get excited about food?
I do. Honestly, man, it was at probably the age of 4 or 5. So one meal that my grandma always made is she made spaghetti with applesauce.
Wait a minute.
She fixed spaghetti and we ate applesauce, man. And that was one of my favorite meals as a kid. And me being the kid, right, my grandma always made sure I had my food first. Yeah. My food was hot and ready. And I grew up with a grandmother that had 6 kids, right? Okay. And 4 of us lived in the house all together at once. So food was a big part of our history, of our culture, right? Grandma always was in the kitchen cooking. And like I said, I was the only grandchild at the time living in the home. So I'm having a hard time unwrapping this spaghetti and applesauce. You never had it?
Bruh, listen, I'm from Oklahoma. Okay. I don't know if we consider ourselves Midwest or not, but it's spaghetti and toast or garlic bread. And if you were in Midwest, I was in Missouri. It was spaghetti and catfish, which I feel like that's strange too. Nah. That's just not what we do. But you said spaghetti and applesauce. Like, is spaghetti the main dish, applesauce is the dessert, or is that like it's all on the same plate touching each other?
It's on the same plate. It's right next to the spaghetti. So what we do, you take a bite of that spaghetti and you take a bite of your applesauce and you do it like that. And I think it was just me as the kid, right? My grandma trying to give me my nutrition, make sure I get my fruits in. And that was the only way that I was going to get it. Okay. But that mixture, you have to try it. Right. Don't knock it until you try it. Because the catfish and spaghetti, there's a lot of people in Oklahoma that don't know about that. And
I'm probably
I grew up on that. I grew up on catfish and spaghetti, but the catfish and the spaghetti and applesauce is amazing. And I've even turned my kids onto it. Okay. And now they love it.
Okay. I'll give it to you. Something I might consider try. But we were talking, you were talking about, the times where like what established to be a relationship about wings between you and your mom.
Yes, sir.
So like share like what that relationship, how at that time, because when we talked, you didn't realize the connection between now and then, but what was it about that fellowshipping together with your mom over wings, over food?
Yeah.
What did that mean to you growing up?
Honestly, man, it meant everything. what I can say is that, right, it was a weekend thing, so it's something that we look forward to.
Okay.
Right. So, okay, Jimere, when we get out of school today, we're gonna go to Gardner's and get these wings, and I was excited for today because there was a place called Gardner Pizza and Wings, and they had the best wings ever.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm 6 to 7 years old, and that was our place to go. Me and my mom place to go, like as outing.
Okay.
That's where we would go. So honestly, my love for wings started then with Gardner's Pizzas and Wings, and I've never found a sauce that tasted like Gardner's. Like, I know how their buffalo sauce tastes.
Okay.
And so I've never had a sauce like that, but I've always loved wings. So with that being said, it's like it was always something in me that wanted to either create or find a wing sauce that was as good as Gardner's, and I never could find it.
So Gardner's is so where is that? So where is that located?
Yes, sir. So I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois.
Okay.
Yep, it was in Peoria, Illinois. Honestly, I think they moved it to a small town right outside of Peoria, Illinois. So still accessible, but they're not in Peoria anymore, but they're still around.
Okay.
So yeah.
So okay, so that happened, and living in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Then when did your transition from Illinois to Tulsa happen? So how long have you lived in Tulsa?
I've been in Tulsa now. I moved here when I was 13.
Okay.
So I'm now 32. So man, that's crazy. Is that 19 years?
Yeah, by 19 years.
Jeez.
So you moved to Tulsa about 19 years ago.
19 years, yes, sir.
So how did that transition happen? Was that just a thing where you found there was maybe a better opportunity to be in Tulsa, or like just talk more about that? Because I'm trying to understand the connection of you not being a Tulsa native.
Yeah.
Now basically you are a Tulsa native. You're a Tulsan.
Yeah, I am. I've been here longer than I've been in Illinois. Yeah.
So let's talk about that transition from being in Peoria, Illinois, coming down to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes, sir. Yep. So back in, I believe, like 99, my pops moved out here to Oklahoma. And so he was here 5 or 6 years prior to me moving out here. Okay. But it got to a point to where, right, I'm 8th grade. I'm growing up as a young man, starting to dive into things that always weren't so good for me. And it became a point to where my mom was like, I think you need to be with your dad. Like, okay. I can't raise a man. And so that's what happened, man. And that next week, I was on the road down to Oklahoma.
Okay.
To be honest. Yep. And so that was my arrival. That was 2005 when I came to Oklahoma.
Okay. So in 2005, so how was that transition? Being basically a preteen and moving from a familiar place,
yes,
to some place that was not so familiar and living with your dad.
Honestly, it was tough. It was very tough because I was a mama's boy and I was the only child.
Okay.
So it's just me and my mom, right?
Okay.
And I'm her protector, I'm her boyfriend, I'm her husband, I'm everything, right? So leaving, it's like
about only boys. I'm the same way. I got 2 sisters, and don't get too close and don't get it twisted.
Yeah, for real. Yep, you got to know. And I kept a bat, so all the guys knew that I didn't play around about my mama. But go back to the question.
Yeah, I just said, how was that transition like moving from Peoria to Tulsa?
Yeah, that transition was tough, to be honest, because one thing, I was 13 years old. I'm 8th grade, about to go into high school. So I had all my friends from middle school and 8th grade that I was looking forward to going to high school with. So that's one thing. 2, like I said, I'm leaving my mother, who I've been around all my life, just me and her. And now that I'm getting older, I feel like I need to be more protective, or I can be more, Yeah. And so me moving at that time was very tough. And then the third thing is that I moved from a 250 kid middle school to Tulsa Union, to where our freshman building had 2,000 kids itself.
Wow.
So that was a culture shock for me, right? Like, I didn't know anyone. Well, thankfully, I had a sister. Yeah. I had a sister here, same grade.
Okay. So
she was able to introduce me to people and her friends. So I was able to kind of get adjusted a little more. But it was still tough. It was a tough ride, man. Yeah.
So then you go from by living here and getting adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
When did this desire to be an entrepreneur start to fester up, where you talked about the connection with wings and your mom, adjusting, moving here to Tulsa, and then at what point do you recall you wanting to be an entrepreneur? Because that's a choice.
It is.
Entrepreneurism is a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not always about like making a lot of money.
Right.
Entrepreneurship, my perspective, is it's a leadership development, it's character development, it's becoming a better person.
Yes.
So you can lead people or you can create.
This is true.
When did that spirit of entrepreneurialism start for you?
To be honest, man, I've had this spirit since I was 9 years old.
Okay.
So at 9 years old, I started cutting grass. I started getting my own money. And once I started getting my own money, that was it. Like I knew how to make money. And so my dad was always an entrepreneur from the age of 9. So he owned a retail clothing store. So what I would do is on the weekends when I didn't have school, I would go work with my dad. Make a cool 40 or 50 bucks on the day or during the weekend. And, you know, I was set. I'm 9 years old, 10 years old. I'm set for the week. So that's where it started.
So your dad is from Tulsa?
My dad is my dad is originally from Peoria, Illinois.
Okay, he's from it. So your dad is living in Tulsa and established himself as an entrepreneur in Tulsa as well.
He did. Yep. Owning a retail clothing store. He now owns a car lot, but he transitioned from the retail clothing store. But like I say, as far as I knew, man, when he would come back to Peoria, you know, and we were at this point, we were pushing clothes out of van. So I would be rolling around with him and we're selling clothes out of van. We'll pop up at certain places and we'll just get to it. Right. And so that just taught me the access to money, how you can make your own money. And I loved, like, my dad had the freedom. Right. He lived out of town, but he could come and, you know, like once or twice a month, he was always traveling back. And on those times I looked forward to going with him because I knew I was going to make some money from selling his products. So
do you think being around in that pivotal time of your development as a preteen and a teenager, having a chance to see it, I mean, you had the spirit in you, but having a chance to see it with your dad opened your eyes and made it seem more real of the possibilities to become a person that can have their own and create their own?
Most definitely. Because I mean, and I know my dad wouldn't mind me sharing, but my dad's a felon, right? So he wasn't going out getting a job. It wasn't that easy for him. So he had to make his own income. So he was kind of forced into it. But with him being forced into that, it taught me how to become an entrepreneur. Or like you say, I was able to view him and see. All I knew was though he made money, right? Dad always had money, and that's all I knew. Until now, right? You get into business and it's a lot more complex than just making money. But at that time, it was just about money. I just saw my dad making his own money and I was making money. So I was happy as well.
Okay. So you got that experience. So then when did this reality of, you know what, I want to start making wing? Nope. I ain't ready for that question. You answered that question yet.
Okay.
I want to really know what is it about serving? What is it about food that drew you to it? Because, you know, when you're creating a dish, you're serving somebody else.
Most definitely.
You are creating something from the heart that gives people a good feeling.
Yes.
You want people to feel great about it.
Yeah.
It's also a lot of pressure too, because you want to make sure it tastes well.
Most definitely.
That people think about you whether it's business or just creating. What is it about food? What is it about creating dishes and recipes before the business? This is the feeling before Kingsway Wings. That you were like, there's something about doing this that is pulling me and it makes me feel really good and I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, great question. So for me, man, I come from a family like full of strong Black women that love to cook. And so our family we're pretty close growing up. So we always had get-togethers. We got together for Thanksgiving, for Easters, and everybody is cooking, right? And I always I was the kid that ate all of my food and I went back for seconds, right? You know, some kids play with their food. That was not me. And so I realized the feelings that I got from the excitement of food during those times, right? I look forward to going to family get-togethers, of course, to be around the family, but also to eat because I know I was going to eat good food.
Right.
And so me knowing and having that feeling, that's really what drew me into like, okay, I love food because this is something that I look forward to when I get around family, but also I know how it makes me feel. Right. And so I took a spiritual gift test and my highest spiritual gift is hospitality.
Okay.
And so at that moment when I learned that, I'm like, okay, this makes sense, right? Like I love to cook. Hospitality is my thing and food is my way of giving back to people, my family or whatever. And so once I put those two together, man, it was just like, this is it. Like I found a niche of something that I can give back because I'm a giver. I love to give. And so once I found that niche of, okay, food is it. I mean, that was it from there. So I grew up cooking, but it was mainly for myself, right? I had a single mom, worked 2 jobs. And so I would have to figure out my meals on my own.
Okay.
And so once I figured out and had the confidence that, okay, I can make good meals. I feel like I can do this, not just for myself, but for the community.
So you're a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
So you had to, mom was working,
Yes, sir.
providing, and then you had to figure out a way to do it. And I want to deep dive a bit more than that, because I think sometimes when people hear the term latchkey kid, or you're being alone cooking, that it gives this impression that there was no care for children. Because my mom worked multiple jobs, and so it wasn't that we just off on our own.
Right.
There's all this preparation and care to it. How do you believe that your mom and her working as hard as she did, the times that as you were growing up, what did you observe how she prepared for you to be able to take care of yourself while she was out working? How did you see her prepare or provide for you while she was having to be away working and providing, and you were at home, making spaghetti and applesauce?
Great question. So I would say, it's really the accessibility, right? So one thing I've heard is that our main goal for our kids is not to take care of them, but to teach them how to take care of themselves, right? Because if anything happens to us, then they know what to do. And I feel like my mom was a great example of that. So what she did, she made it accessible. Hey, I'm going to the grocery store. What do you need? What do you want in the house, right? And I would go to the grocery store with her and pick the things that I know that I can make or that I like. So really just setting me up for having the access to the things that I've needed. Now, what I do with what I need is whatever I do with what I need. Right. But she made sure that I had food accessible. I had a stove, I had a house, I had heat, we had gas in order to cook. A lot of things were made in the microwave, so we had electricity, right? But her just setting me up with the tools that I needed in order to take care of myself.
So how did that influence you being a father?
Oh, that's good. Honestly, it influenced a lot, man. Like for my kids now, I don't let me word this correctly.
Okay.
I push them to do a lot on their own, right? That I know that they can do. So if my daughter, hey, daddy, can I make a bowl of cereal? Hey, I'll bring the cereal down. I'll bring the milk down. You're going to make the cereal, right? Because I was that kid that everything wasn't done for me. And that has taught me a lot as far as taking ownership, being a leader, not being scared to step out and just take action, which is what I'm great at. That comes from my childhood and from my mom having to set me up in the position to do the things that I needed to do without her having to do them for me. And so she taught me. So one thing that my mom taught me, man, is it sounds, it's cliche and it sounds small, but one thing I remember, she taught me how to wash my body. She taught me you start with your neck, go down your arms. And I hold that to heart now. And I teach my kids the same thing, but because some people and kids just, when it comes to, they don't know what to do, right? I know I need to wash, but how do I do it? Right. My mom really taught me those things of how to do and how to take care of yourself. And so that makes me a better father because I do the same thing with my kids. And so if I'm not around, my kids know how to make their own food. They know how to make their own bed. They know how to get up. They know how to use a phone. They do a lot of things that I could do for them that I don't. And so, and that translates from my childhood.
It's interesting that you even mentioned teaching.
Yeah.
Like not I'm providing, but I'm also showing you how to use and do a thing.
Most definitely.
Which is a quality of leadership. It's a quality of entrepreneurship and owning and managing, because in owning a business, you're managing people.
Most definitely.
Vendors, showing up to meetings, you have to be prepared, all those parts.
Yes, sir.
So can you now see, looking back, how those life experiences prepared you to be an owner of a business in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Honestly, yes. Specifically, I would say, so one thing is, so I played basketball growing up, and in 8th grade, we stayed literally probably a mile from the school.
Okay.
And so one thing that my mom wouldn't do is she wouldn't set alarms. She wouldn't wake me up. Okay. I had to do all that on my own. And that's hard for an 8th grade boy to get up on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. and go to practice. Mm-hmm. That's tough. But my mom, hey, this is you. Like she gave me, hey, this is what you want to do. You have to take ownership in it. And so it's things like that to where I had to take ownership in that nobody did it for me, to where it has set me up now to where I don't expect to be saved. Right. You got to go out there and get it. Nobody's going to save you. Right. And if they are, then it's not going to be forever. Right. It's a momentary thing. So you have to learn and know how to fish, right, and not have people give you fish. And I do believe that that's what my life has been, and it's really helped me as an entrepreneur because, like I say now, man, I take ownership, the dedication that you need in order to succeed in entrepreneurship, the self-motivation that you need. Like I've gotten all that through childhood. Not that I'm saying that I really wanted that, but it did set me up and prepare me for where I am now.
I think everything, there's a pathway, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
So let's talk about Kingsway.
Okay.
Kind of heard that as you were talking in terms of pathways and whatnot. And so it's a good transition to talk about Kingsway Wings.
Yes, sir.
Now you mentioned when we started the podcast that you had to do the business the right way and think about trademarking and branding, but not so much that's the question, but more of getting to the place where you decided, I want a business. I want to create something great. I want to take my passion for wings. I want to do this. You're volunteering to do something hard.
Mm-hmm.
How did Kingsway Wings start? What was the beginning?
Yeah, man. So the beginning was honestly, man, $140.
Okay.
Took a trip to Walmart, bought a bunch of seasoning sauces and chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a electric fryer, got in the garage, and literally cooked every weekend.
Okay.
Starting January 1st, 2021.
Okay.
I literally was cooking leading up to our October 5th debut, where we popped out to the community. But 8 or 9 months, I was in the kitchen making seasoning sauces, inviting friends over, inviting family over, and really just trial and error.
But I feel like you're missing a part. Like you don't just go from January 21 to getting ready to a launch date 8 or 9 or 10 months later.
Yeah.
But what's before that? Before that, what was the moment or the thing that said, you know what, I want to start in January creating recipes and sauces to figure out what my brand or taste is. What was the before January 2021?
Gotcha. So before January 21. So okay, let's go back here. So I was a salesman at Verizon. Did very well. Did very well to where they wanted me to move up to managerial roles. And honestly, I didn't want to do that. So I stayed in just a rep position, but I did pretty good at the job. I kind of got fed up with that. And so I was mentoring at a school here in North Tulsa called Greenwood Leadership Academy. And I went to school one day to see my mentee, and he wasn't in the class. And so I will go back to the front of the class. Go back to the front of the building, go see the principal, and I say, hey, Mr. Carter, where's my guy? He's not there. He's like, oh man, we're short on teachers. Let me take you to his class. So, we get to walking through the hallways, and he's like, how you doing, man? How's everything going? I'm telling him things are great. I see the progression in my student. He said, man, I think you'll be a great student. I think you'll be a great teacher. I said, I love the kids, but I don't think that's for me. He said, no, man, you should really look at it. I said, okay, I'll look into it, knowing in my mind, like, this is not.
I'm not doing
right. It's not happening. It's not. So, man, I went to church 3 weeks later, and there was a sermon that was going on, and it was talking about Paul. And I don't remember exactly what it was speaking about, but I remember the time at 12:11, the pastor said something that clicked with the teaching thing, and it's like God was like, "This is what you need to do."
Okay.
And so at that moment, I told my wife, I'm like, "Man, I just got the sign. Like, that is it." And so from that moment, I ended up leaving Verizon. Okay. I ended up going to become a teacher. So I did an emergency certification because I didn't have all the certifications yet, but because there was a lack of teachers, I could do the emergency certification. So I became a teacher. And then
this was 2020.
So this was during COVID.
So this was kind of the start of the craziness of the COVID pandemic.
Most definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. That August I became a teacher, but I was going through the process from the start of COVID, going up.
Isn't it strange that a lot of beautiful things happened out of chaotic circumstances?
They do. But the thing is, you don't see it because I took a $15,000 pay cut to become a teacher.
Whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
Of a family of four. It's
a lot of money.
I got 2 kids, and that's a lot of money. I got a mortgage. I got things. I got bills to pay for. And so I took a $15,000 pay cut. But one thing I would tell you that I knew is that if I was to complete this mission of teaching with grace and style and give it my all, I knew that my next endeavors were going to be blessed. I knew that.
Okay.
So 3 months in, though, I almost gave up. Thank God for my wife, man, because it was just tough, right? It was COVID. Yeah. I'm a virtual teacher for 5th graders who parents aren't at home, who has tablets and phones, and so this was tough, right? And so, honestly, I think God put me in that position because He knew that kids would be the only way that I would do it. If it was for a company or something, I would have left, right? but these are kids that's depending on you.
Yeah.
And so so I became a teacher, man, and I did well in it. So that first semester I did pretty well. I was happy about it. But over that winter break, that's when I really started diving into cooking, right?
Okay.
Walmart seasonings. And that second half of the semester, I told myself that, once I finished this, that I was going to start Kingsway.
Okay.
And so during that whole the second semester, that's when I was practicing. So January 2021 was the start of the second semester of school up until August, when I ended teaching. I was cooking wings every weekend. Yeah. And I was and I told the people at the school, they asked, what is something you look forward to? And I told them, I look forward to starting my wing business. Yeah. So I put it out there for the world to hear and for people to hold me accountable, right? I hear a lot of people say, don't tell your dreams to the world, or don't tell your big dreams to small minds, which I do believe in that. But I also believe there's a power in putting it out there, right? Because there's accountability that's going to come from that.
Right.
And so that's what it was for me, man. I like I say, the second semester started chefing it up, and that's how we came about.
Yeah. So you're a person that talks with their hands. So I've had to hold in because it'll pick up the feedback on when you do it on the table like that.
Okay.
I'm cutting that out, so don't worry about that. But okay, so then it's really interesting that you started exploring. It's not my question either. Mm-hmm. You're gonna hear me say that a couple times, and I'm going to start like, I would say like that's not my question because something will come to me.
Okay.
And you mentioned starting Kingsway, but you kind of smoothed over or kind of strutted around the name. And I hear you talk about faith, or you make references to faith.
Yes, sir.
But why the name? Like, because a person would assume, like my nephew, his name is Josiah, but I've always called him King.
Okay.
Always. From the time he was born. Yeah. My little sister told me that was going to be his name. That's just what I always called him. Mm-hmm. So when I see the name Kingsway Wings, my first impression is your name is King.
Right. Yeah. And that's everybody's first impression.
But that's not your name.
That is not it.
So then why Kingsway Wings?
Yes, sir. So you hit the nail on the head with the spiritual aspect, right? I feel like this is a vision that came from God, right? And I see God as King. I also see myself as King. So it's a portrayal of how I see myself and how I see God. Also, right, there's a play on King's Wings. So when you think about kings, right, we think about hierarchy, and the king is the ruler, right? And so for our wings, I want it to be known that our wings are at the top of the hierarchy when it comes to the food.
But were you asking for a competition when you did that? Were you asking for people to challenge you? You say your wings are the best, so let's line it up. Me and you, a cast iron, a deep fryer. Take your seasonings. You got your sauces. Let's line it up like in football. Let's line it. Oklahoma drill.
Yes,
let's line it up and see who got the best wings.
To be honest, that wasn't my intention. But it's honestly worked well in our marketing. Okay. Right. We brand ourselves the best wings in Oklahoma. So what that's going to do is somebody that loves wings, hold on, best wings in Oklahoma, let me test this out for myself. Right. So it gets people to come and try it. And then once I get you to try it, and I got you. So it was a marketing play. But it literally came to me in my time of literally sitting down, planning out the business. It literally just came to me. It's like King's Wings. That's it. That's it. Because I had a couple different names that I was playing with. Right. But when King's Wings came, it instantly was like, this is it. And so I went with that. And obviously, you guys seen the name has changed to Kingsway Wings. That's because of legal purposes. There was a King's Wings already trademarked. Okay. And so we had to change it up. But our whole aura and how we would set up our brick and mortar will be like a royalty style. So we had to stick with the King theme in order to fit the aesthetics of the business. Okay. So I noticed that you seem very attuned to the voice of God. Yes, sir. At times.
What is it that we all fall short of the glory? But how does that play into you making the decisions about your business? Because you could have done this in many different ways. You could have taken an easy route. You could have pursued a franchise. You could have worked with more partners. There's many things you could have done in creating a business, but the route that you chose was one of intentionality, was one of greater purpose.
Sir.
How has your faith played in you becoming a successful entrepreneur?
Man, I recently
I told you I was gonna come for the good questions.
You coming with them. And man, I recently saw a post that said entrepreneurship is more than a spiritual journey than anything. And when I saw that post, that resonated so deep within my spirit because it is.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think we've been able to succeed because it's not me. Honestly, if it was Jimere's wings, Jimere's wings might have been shut down a year ago, right? But because of this King's Wings, I see the vision. It's bigger than me, right? Just like the podcast, it's bigger than food, it's bigger than Jimere. So that's my accountability, right? When we do good in sales, and I want to go and blow the money, but it's like, hey, this is not just for you. Like, you have a bigger purpose in this. So that keeps me accountable. It keeps me grounded. To be honest, man, it's the spiritual aspect. It's the God, it's the intention behind it that keeps me grounded. Because, like I said, if it was just me, we might have failed a while ago, or I might have quit a while ago because my first pop-up was not ideal.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
It was ugly. It was
okay,
man, it was terrible.
Talk about that because people, the pop-up craze has been popping up all over the place.
Yes.
I meet a lot of people that say, I'm gonna just do a pop-up. I'll do a pop-up.
Yeah.
We'll get the chafer dishes, or they'll pop up with a tailgate tent, and they'll just be somewhere and expect that pop-up was going to be successful.
Yeah.
What was your first pop-up experience like?
It was terrible. So we had, I literally, it was 40. We had 44 orders.
Okay.
I had people, literally, the longest person waited an hour, 20 minutes for chicken. I actually gave their money.
Whoa,
back.
wait a minute. Someone waited an hour and 20 minutes for chicken.
An hour and 20 minutes. My orders were, my average order time was probably 45 minutes.
Wow.
And so I had no processes. I'm just going, I'm going in there, right? On faith. But didn't visualize anything really. I kind of went in and we just got to it. But what I didn't understand, right? I had one fryer. Okay. I'm doing everything with one fryer. And so if I have it takes 12 minutes to drop fresh chicken. Okay. So while I have orders coming in, I'm still waiting for fresh chicken.
So it's 12 minutes to finish the order. You got 40 orders. That's 40 times 12. That's 480 minutes.
Man, you good with the math.
So you're talking about 2 hours to complete 40 orders. Yeah. 2 hours each.
Well, no. So we popped up. It was for a full day. So we had a full day.
Okay, so you had a full day.
Yeah, we had a full day. We were open from 11 to 9.
So about 10 hours, you had 40 orders over the 10 hours.
Over the 10 hour span.
But it took, the longest order was over an hour.
Over an hour. So I think we had about 7 tickets. And with those 7 tickets, I had to drop fresh chicken. And so I couldn't do anything, couldn't make anything because everything is ran through a fryer.
Right.
And so I didn't bring my own personal fryer like I do now. Like, our processes just wasn't there. Okay. And that's something that a restaurateur told me, is that a restaurant is only as good as its processes. Right. Yep. And so now we do 40 or what we done in a whole day, we do in 2 hours now. And I mean, the wait time is no longer than 20 minutes.
Oh, so that's good.
Yeah, we scaled it down like tremendously. But it's trial and error. And then on the icing on the cake, right? So we finished the hard day. It was a terrible day, right? And so we get to cleaning up, mopping the floor, everything is good, but the fryer. So I go and clean out the fryer. I let it do a boil, and what happens? The fryer spills out all over the floor after we just got done cleaning. And so we're already tired, right? You've been on your feet 10 hours. You've been over a fryer. And then right at the end, where you think you're done, the fryer boils out. And that was a tip. I was like, I don't know if this is really for me, and I had, thankfully, rest in peace to Uncle Aaron, man. Yeah. But I had our uncle come down, and he really was like, man, it's okay. Like, this is part of the kitchen. Like, let's just get it done. And he actually mopped it up and gave me the chance to just catch a breather. And it's pivotal people like that, that helps you with, that you need around, that helps you with your dreams and your goals, that's going to push you forward. But I say all that to say, man, it was a terrible ending. It was a terrible day, but we stuck it out because, like I say, it wasn't about me. At that moment, like, I felt it. If it was up to me, it's like, this is it.
But you have to have those, like, that's the beautiful journey about entrepreneurship. Like, and I was talking to a good buddy of mine yesterday, and he said, someone asked him about becoming an entrepreneur, and he would say, don't do it. Because if many people get into it because they see the glitz and the glamour, the chances to make money, but some of the hardest times and long days, the failures, the shortcomings, the times when you don't get that pat on the back,
Yeah.
you know, being taken advantage of. You want to experience all of that. That's why it becomes a journey of personal development is going to happen. Do you still want to do it when that happens?
That's true.
Your very first pop-up was not a good experience, and you decided, I'm going to try it again.
I'm still, because I had a passion for it. And I put in the work. It's like, it's going to cost me more to stop here than continue to keep going. So, yeah, we stuck it out, man. And
so what's next? So it's okay. So you have established yourself. We're here at Mother Road here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
A great venue with many local businesses. You're in the Kitchen 66 program.
Yes, sir.
So what is the Kitchen 66 program, and how has that program helped like business owners like yourself here at Mother Road?
Great question, man. Well, hey, Mother Road, just to start out, Mother Road is amazing. It's a great place. And Kitchen 66, what it is the entrepreneurial programmatics, I would say, of Mother Road Market. So Kitchen 66 is a membership-based organization, I would say. And what we do is we pay, membership fees in order to utilize a kitchen. So there's a probably 2,000 square foot, it's probably more, I don't know, about 2,000 square foot kitchen. It has 3 stations where you can cook and fry. It has 8 different prep stations. And basically what you do is, whenever you need it, you pay a monthly, you pay a hourly fee, and you can utilize any of that equipment that you want. You're also covered through they push you to get your own insurance, but you're covered through Mother Road's insurance. You're covered through their licensing, so you don't have to be licensed, right? That's a big thing with people with food, right? You want to expand, but you're not licensed,
right? So
the thing with Kitchen 66 is you can come in here, try out your concept, operate under their licensing, and see if it works, right? And if it works, then it's like, okay, yeah, let's jump into it. Let's go get licensed. But it gives you the chance to practice a restaurant without having to fork out tens of thousands of dollars, right? I didn't have the money coming into this. I didn't even know if it was going to work, right? I just know I have a passion for something that I like, with your wings. And so coming in here, man, they give you a designated kitchen space in the midst of all the other restaurants that are in here. So you're operating like a real restaurant, and they give you, they provide all the equipment and everything you need. All you have to do is bring your food. And so, man, that has been an amazing opportunity and help for us. Like I say, I believe every state, every city needs a Mother Road Market, because it allows the local entrepreneur to jump the gun, to get off his feet and make something happen, and test this concept, see if it works with the community or not, see if I need to pivot or not. But it's better to do it then than to fork out $100,000 to a restaurant, and then 3 months down the line, you're like, man, nobody likes my food.
Right.
Now I'm $100,000.
And it's expensive to be in restaurants. Brick and mortars are expensive. And it's beautiful that Mother Road is providing, people like yourselves and others a chance to, I don't say experiment, but a chance to learn more about the processes necessary to go out on their own, to be more of an independent, but you're in a community of people who are on the similar journey of a food-based product, whether it's doing catering or not. So when I walked in, there was another caterer preparing for a meal or two. Mm-hmm. So if you take your commitment to Kingsway Wings, what is an opportunity that you've been provided that you did not expect to happen in this short 2-year journey?
Oh man, there's been many, to be honest. I would say one of the first ones was us being in the running for a permanent spot in Mother Road.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was we're probably almost a year and a half in, and the spot opened up in Mother Road, and we became one of the finalists for that spot.
Okay.
Of course, we didn't get it, and we're happy about who got it. LaRue, shout out to LaRue's. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really big deal to say that, within 2 years you've had a strong opportunity to have your own permanent space. And I don't see it as something that was unfortunate, because I believe that every opportunity leads you to where you're supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
But what did you learn in that process, in the application process, or in the opportunity of learning? Is a brick and mortar or a permanent space right for us now? Or did you learn, yes, it's right for us, but there's some things that we need to prepare for so we can be long-term down the road.
And that's it. Yep. That the second part. So what you said, yep. It was right for us. It just wasn't the timing for us, right? We weren't licensed. We didn't have a lot of things that we thought we had in order for that. So what that did is it really showed us what we needed to do, what we needed to work on. But it also gave us the grace and the timing to continue to work on our concepts, work on our recipes. So honestly, our journey has been very unorthodox, right? Being a pop-up restaurant for 2 years, like literally not owning when I say pop-up, people are like, okay, cool, where's the food truck? I'm like, we don't have a truck, we don't have a building, all we have is equipment, right? And we take our equipment and we pop into places that has a full kitchen and we'll do our
So you're mobile catering.
Where you can say that.
Mobile catering.
Mobile catering. Yep.
So if you need catering, I can come to you.
You can come to me.
Or there are some schedules that you have at Mother Road. They can come to you at Mother Road, or you could definitely go out to
yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 ways. So Mother Road, we pop up in the takeovers. You can come there. That's over the counter service. We can do catering. So if you need us for an event, or if you have a spot, so we just recently got a partnership with the brewery across the street. So, maybe 1 or 2 weekends a month, we'll go in that brewery and operate for 2 or 3 days in their kitchen. Right. And what's better than wings and beer? Right. So it's perfect.
So crossing over to another audience.
Yes,
and so we can't keep going on without talking about the flavors and the food. So you've been teasing us, talking about being in the garage, in the lab, creating seasoning and spices. And right in front of us, you have your own sauce and seasonings.
Yes, sir.
How would you describe your flavors? I want you to do it in a way that, you as a person that enjoys wings, that loves wings,
yes.
Not as the creator,
gotcha.
Not as the owner,
gotcha.
not as Jimere, not as you,
yes,
as a person, I really love wings. How would you describe that?
Okay, that's a good question. How would I describe it as a wing lover? So specifically, our sauce, all of our buffalo sauces are made in-house.
Okay,
and so, as a wing lover, I would say Kingsway Wings has the best crispy but juicy, big, bold, flavorful wings. And when I say big, bold, flavorful, I mean big, bold, flavorful. So you're going to get a hint of, you may get a hint of ranch, you may get a hint of lemon pepper, you may get a hint of chili powder. You may get a hint of all these flavors, but it doesn't taste like a buffalo sauce. So when I tell people, this is our homemade buffalo sauce, it's like, okay, let me take. Oh, this buffalo? So it's not your original buffalo sauce.
So you created the spices to where you can taste and enjoy. It's like a flavor journey. I can taste definitely what's in there. I'm not going to be able to replicate the recipe, but I understand, like, man, I taste this flavor and that flavor, and my eyes and my senses. You're hitting on all senses,
yes,
which creates an experience.
Most definitely.
With Kingsway Wings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then we also, and I mean, we spend money on our wings. We get the highest quality of wing that we can, which is the jumbo party wings. And, that also sets us apart.
So you're not doing a small wing?
We're not doing a small wing.
Okay. So I'm getting a full wing?
You're getting a wingette, but you're getting a nice size wingette.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I can't stuff my mouth with 2-3 wingettes at a time.
Nah.
I feel like I'm eating Skittles.
Nah. No, sir. Okay. Just one, man.
I get a nice portion of a wing that I can enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, all right. That sounds like a flavor I definitely want to enjoy. So then you do that. And you leap into the world of creating sauces and seasonings.
Yes.
Now, and not only you go from creating a business, now you do also have a full-time job.
I do not.
So you left corporate America.
Oh yeah. I never spoke about that.
So you said
after teaching.
Okay.
So that June.
Well, that's breaking news for me.
Yeah, June of 2021, man. I've been solo entrepreneur. This has been it. And I have a camera business as well, but that's just kind of the side hustle.
Okay.
This here is the main thing. So yeah, for the past 2 years, man, I've been unemployed, no job, just working for myself, working for Kingsway.
Okay.
And building it up.
No, you are employed.
I am.
You are employed
by Kingsway. You're right.
So you took this leap of faith. You went from coming to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Being in an atmosphere around your dad, learning entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
Hustling, trying to make some money.
Yeah.
Graduating high school, going to college.
Yeah.
starting a career pathway,
Yeah.
leaving one lucrative career
Yeah.
to take a pay cut as a teacher,
Yeah.
to learn something, learn a skill set,
Yeah.
responding to a call of God to do something.
Yes, sir.
And then you start experimenting again while you're in a new career,
Yeah.
creating season, creating a business. And then shortly after doing that, so you left teaching when you launched in 2021?
Yep. Well, I hadn't launched yet. I think I had 3 June. So June to October was like my I guess unemployed, because we hadn't started King. We hadn't started generating any money. So yep. So from June to October, I was just floating.
But you started teaching in 2020.
2020. Yep. So I started teaching 2020. August of 2020 led to June of 2021. And then from June 2021 up until October, well, really January to October, I was working on the season, but I didn't have a job from June to October because we hadn't started generating Kings. Well, we started it, but I hadn't generated any money.
So basically you went into teaching and you left that career within 2 years. And since then you've been fully committed to Kingsway Wing.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go back to the question I asked you earlier. What role does your faith play in you taking all of those risks and 2 years later from taking those multiple, I would say they're risks, from responding to you believe that your purpose is, and then end up 2 years into it, you've been taken down, you've gone down this path.
Yeah.
What did your faith play in all of that? Because that's a lot to digest over the last couple of years, even if you go from the time of you moving to Tulsa at 11, 12 years old, 19 years later. It's been a journey.
Yeah, it has. And I mean, faith played everything, but I really, honestly, I found faith when I moved to Tulsa. So that was, I loved, I went to church a little bit growing up, but I really dived into church when I moved to Tulsa. So going to Greenwood Christian Center at the time. And I became shout out to Pastor Mike Hill, man. He really pushed me to become the leader that I am today. So as soon as I got in, for the first 6 months, I was, a little standoffish just because I was new. I had to adapt. And then from that moment on, though, I was a leader. I was very active in the church. I was very active in the youth group. And it was really all about, more or less about religion and church, but it was more about leadership development.
Right.
And so I was developing as a leader in a space that I really didn't know anybody, but all that played a part into who I am today. Like, I'm a true lion. I have no fear. I'm not scared of anything because I've been pushed into spaces that I didn't want to go to, that I had to adapt to. And so now it's the norm now.
So your capacity was stretched.
Yeah,
like your
definitely.
capacity to do more was beyond what you realized.
Most definitely.
Right. And so having your capacity stretched and being a person that's willing to learn and evolve has put you in positions where you've had some amazing opportunities happen. Right. So who would think that, did you think at 7, 8, 9 years old, when you were enjoying wings with your mom, that you would now have a business called Kingsway Wing?
Never. No.
Did you think 2 years ago that you would have a sauce and seasoning line?
Not at all.
That just happened, right?
It really did. Yep. Well, we launched on August 17th.
That's a whole nother business to get into.
That is.
In addition to being a husband, being a father, being a leader, being a manager, being a trainer, being all those things, your capacity had to be stretched to be able to handle it in the way that you are. So we only got a couple minutes left, and I want to, if you're willing to answer the question.
Yes, sir.
What's next though?
What's next?
Like, you've in these short few years, you've done some amazing, bold, flavorful things. You describe your work.
Yes, sir. I like that.
But what's next?
What's next?
Like, what's the next bold thing that you'd like to share? That this is what's coming, or y'all just gonna have to wait and follow us, because I feel like I believe that people that take bold, purposeful steps, especially in their purpose and their pathway, that it's not a risk. It really isn't a risk.
Yeah,
that's what's supposed to happen.
It's true.
So then, what's next for Kingsway? What's coming?
What's coming for Kingsway, man? Well, we know this. A brick and mortar is coming, right? We get people asking us all the time, "Hey, when are you guys getting your own place? When is it coming? When is it?" It's happening. I don't know when it's happening, but I just know that it's happening.
You're in the process.
And I'm in the process.
But you know where?
I know where.
It's not necessarily when it's going to open.
When it's going to, yep.
But you do have a location.
We have a location. We found a spot
in North Tulsa.
in I guess you could say Kendall Whittier.
Okay.
Yep. In the Mother Road, right off Route 66.
Okay. So along historic Route 66.
Yes, sir.
Right. Did you think that was going to happen in this time frame? Did you think the opportunity to have your own brick and mortar for a business that you just launched 2 years ago?
Yeah. Nah. You know, I can't say, because beyond honestly, I knew that when I started this, that everything was going to come to fruition. My main thing is just being patient and enjoying the gap season, right? There's a gap season whenever you start something, to where it's the ugly season, right? It's the building, it's the grind to get you to where you need to go. And so that's where we are. That's where we've been in. And I'm okay with that. It's just learning how to enjoy where you are on the way to where you're going. And so that's been my main focus, is just enjoy this, right? The times where I may not have a pop-up for a week, like enjoy those days off.
Right.
Take some time with your kids, take some time with your wife, take some time for yourself and enjoy it. Like, because you're not always going to be here, right? You're going to expand. The business is going to expand. You're going to be pulled and pushed in other areas, right? So enjoy the time off that you have. So honestly, that's what I've been doing. And since I've been doing that, to be honest, everything has been aligning. And so I love to say, when you're in alignment, everything aligns. Like, it really takes you being consistent, takes you being dedicated. But outside of that, everything is going to align how you aligned it. And honestly, I honestly haven't had to pull any strings. I haven't had to have any cosigns. I haven't had to do anything extra than do the work that I'm supposed to do. And everything is just aligning up. So honestly, I didn't see this happening within the first 2 years. Honestly, I knew it would happen, but I didn't know when. And the way that things are happening is really divine. Right. There's no way that nobody could tell me that this is not God ordained, because things are coming that I'm honestly not what's the word I want to use? Just to say, things are coming that I didn't think that would be meant for me in the timing, because I feel like I could be doing more, I could be doing better, I could be, but the fact that I'm just doing and staying consistent with it, everything that I need is literally coming to me. So, but
it's in the doing. It's like what you said. You said, somewhere I read that faith without works is dead. Somewhere I read that, when you have to make up in your mind that it's possible. Yeah. And you receive what you're supposed to receive in the work. And that's what faith is.
That's
so
100.
Put your faith in working. And so you're not always going to know what's coming next. Right. But in what's coming next, you built a relationship, through these different pathways around food, around your passion for food and love for food and serving people and being a great leader and a great manager and being a good steward. These blessings have come in ways that you didn't expect, because in the purposeful work, it is hard work meant to stretch us in capacity for the true desire of giving you what you deserve that's coming next, if you just keep working at it.
That's it.
All right, we're going to close this out with one last question.
Yes, sir.
So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm desiring to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
What are two lessons? You know what? If I'm becoming an entrepreneur, what is one piece of advice you would give, and what's one lesson they need to learn to be successful as an entrepreneur? One piece of advice and one lesson.
Got you. Good question.
No,
okay.
Just one tip,
and
then one lesson.
One tip and one lesson. Okay, the tip for sure is get a team. Get a team. You cannot do this thing by yourself. You may be the visionary, you may be the boss, but it's the team that's going to propel you, right? The dream can only go as far as the team. So you have to create your team. Kingsway would not be where it is if it wasn't for my wife, if it wasn't for the people that have come in to help us, that work with us. So that's number one. Lesson. Number two is be a good steward. Put the money to where the money needs to go to. That's it, man. Because it's the money, it's the funding that helps the business circulate, that allows the business to continue to go on. So as that money's coming in, reinvest that money back into yourself, reinvest that money back into your business, right? You're working for the business isn't working for you. So make sure that you're removing yourself from the situation, literally, and know that whatever you're starting, it's bigger than you. And as the funding is coming in, as the money is coming, put it to where it needs to go. And that's back into the business, whether it's marketing, products, you're paying for employees, whatever it is, put the money to where it needs to go. Because when you run out of money, you can't really operate as a business. So you need to make sure that you're managing that money well. And that's a hard lesson that I've learned over these. I can't say that I've been a great steward, to be honest, over these past 2 years. There's been times because I've had more money than I've ever had.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you have something that you've never had, you do stuff with it you've never done.
Yeah, but you need that. I mean, when you got to have the experience to know how to better steward it. Right?
It's true.
You don't just get wisdom. I mean, wisdom comes from shortcomings and challenges and things that happen.
This is true.
So this is I'll reinterpret what I heard you say. You said get a team.
Yeah.
And for me, that is building relationships.
Yeah.
And reinvest back in your business. And I interpret that as, you said reinvestment, but I'll take that as also planting good seeds in fertile ground.
Oh, that's good. That's it.
So in building relationships and making the proper investments in things that are going to reproduce,
yes, sir,
or produce a harvest,
mm-hmm.
that you will be blessed in abundance. And now people might hear that and say that sounds very scripture and biblical, but between two men that love God or are followers of Christ, I think that's a principle that anybody can live by, even if you take the spiritual or Christian principle out of it, is that when you surround yourself with people you invest in relationship in, because we live in community, and hospitality is a community. It is it's a garden. It's a place where it brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have resources, whether it's money or time, invest that into things, time, people that will reap and harvest for you back in return, whether that's a new relationship,
yes, sir,
whether it's learning a skill, launching a product, or just not even those type of things. It may not be money,
mm-hmm.
but you've learned how to make better choices, become more strategic. Maybe in some areas you needed some more patience.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in some areas you need to learn some type of processes, but those are things that benefit you as well.
Yes, sir.
Man, Jimere, I appreciate you taking some time on this fall weather day in Tulsa here at Mother Road and sharing about your journey with Kingsway Wings. I know you got a lot more things to do for today as you're prepping for another big order later on today, but it was really good to hear, and I'm inspired to hear stories about how you took this passion you have and you've dove into it and made it your purpose, and you did it with your wife along the way, being a father and a husband and a leader and a servant, and how you've been just blessed these last 2 years is an inspiration for many. And one of the real reasons doing this podcast, bro, is really I need people to see that in Oklahoma there are Black folks in Oklahoma doing amazing stuff.
Yes, sir.
And we don't often get those opportunities, whether it's systemic or not. But I do believe that the platform that God has given me is to bring attention to those who need the attention. And I'm just honored to be able to have this conversation with you. You giving me the chance to do my mobile setup, and I'm praying when I get back home, everything works right to do the post-production and everything else. But this was great. This was good to learn, good to hear. And so if people want to find you and support you, how would they do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you can find us on all socials at Kings Wings Tulsa. That's KINGSWINGS Tulsa. You can go to our website, kingswaywings.com. From there, you can order sauces. You can order merch. If we're popping up that day, you can put in your online order. Those are two ways to reach us. Me personally, you can follow my personal Instagram at KingWingJP, KINGWINGJP. Those are ways to find us, man. And we appreciate you. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you, brother, for your time. We appreciate it. I do want to leave you guys with a quote, man. This is a quote that I live by, that has really been efficient in this process. And that quote is, don't follow where the path may lead you, but instead go where there is no path and leave a trail. That's what we're trying to do with King's Way, right? We're not following any paths. We're taking the path that God has given us, but we want to leave a trail for people to come behind. So if you guys have any questions about anything when it comes to restaurant, if it comes to business, feel free to reach out, man. We're never too busy to reach out and answer a question, to try to help you in any way that we can, you know, learning from our failures and our successes. We're free to give that out. So, you know, if you want any questions, anything deeper than what you've heard here, feel free to reach out to us and give us a shout.
I love it, man. And I would have had something great to say, but you did it with that quote. And that's the very powerful and impactful that, you know, you follow sometimes you follow unpaved pathways to leave something for somebody else. That's necessary. So for y'all to hear this more about this podcast, and if you missed it, you can check the replay on our YouTube channel at Black Eats on YouTube. You can do us a favor, like and share this video as you see it, and let people know. And make sure you intentionally support Kingsway Wings. They're here in Tulsa. You can also find them at pop-ups at Mother Road here in Tulsa as well. Yes. But even if you can't find them in Tulsa, you have his social media and website to be able to support this amazing Black-owned business based here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he did say they have a brick and mortar coming. So you have to follow them to know when it's coming, and come and support and taste these amazing wings. Yes. And like we always say at the Bigger Than Food podcast, our mission is bigger than food, and be intentional with how you support.